moments ago, the president did something that I don't think anyone saw coming, which he threatened to veto this huge $1.3 trillion spending bill that was finally passed by the Senate overnight. It had bipartisan support, and both sides of Congress thought it had presidential support until moments ago, where out of nowhere, the president said he is considering a veto. Let's get right to the White House. Our Abby Phillip is there. Abby.
Well, good morning, John. This is a really stunning development, in part because as early as this morning, the White House has been preparing for a bill signing for the spending bill. And yesterday they said that the president supported it and would sign it. He is now saying on Twitter that he doesn't support it and is considering vetoing it, in part because it does not include funding for Dreamers, any DACA funding, and it also doesn't include a significant amount of money for the border wall. The bill does include some border security funding, but it's a relatively small amount and nowhere near the some $25 billion that Trump had wanted for the border wall system. Those negotiations broke down in the last week, and just this morning, President Trump was also tweeting about that, blaming Democrats for failing to negotiate with him on the border wall. This situation is a kind of 11th hour move by the president, and one that will surely come as a surprise to people on the Hill who were expecting this bill to finally sail through to avert a government shutdown. The president now threatening, just hours before he's expected to leave for Florida this afternoon, threatening to veto this spending bill. Again, John, the White House said yesterday that he supported it, that he intended to sign it, and now he is saying something completely different. This coming at a time when frankly, the White House is trying to get settled. There's a lot going on here, a lot of shakeups happening, and the president is throwing another wrench in the plans that pretty much everybody in Washington had for today.
All right, Abby Phillip at the White House. Stand by. We're going to come back to you in just a moment because, as I said, there's a lot going on. Let me read the president's statement just so you can hear his own words. This is what he wrote moments ago. I am considering a veto of the omnibus spending bill based on the fact that the 800,000-plus DACA recipients have been totally abandoned by the Democrats, not even mentioned in bill, and the border wall, all caps, which is desperately needed for our national defense, is not fully funded. Joining me here in New York, Dana Bash. Dana, this, I think, will come as a shock to every member of Congress who had been assured that the president would sign this bill.
No question. Look, since this just was tweeted moments ago, I've been trying to reach out to sources and haven't had luck yet. But obviously, as the time goes on, we're going to get a sense of where the president's thinking was on this. But just to kind of take a step back, the fact that Congress had to work through so many issues to pass something that was must pass, a basic function of Congress, funding the government, which, by the way, this isn't even the way they're supposed to do it. This is, them at the end of the day not really doing their jobs properly by lumping all this spending together. But the fact that they got through all of the twists and turns of this spending bill, passed the House, passed the Senate, it's going to the president's desk, and now he says publicly, wait a minute, I need to take care of the DACA recipients. I mean, this is Exhibit A of presidential leadership. If the president wanted to take care of this DACA recipients, which, I think people of both parties would applaud him for saying this, he missed the boat. You got to start at the beginning, because there were negotiations between Democrats and Republicans to try to get something into this bill. And Republicans wanted to make it limited. Democrats wanted to make it broad, to include a path to citizenship for DACA recipients, and they couldn't come to an agreement. You know who could have helped come to an agreement? The President of the United States.
And just to be clear, yesterday, his budget director, Mick Mulvaney, was flat out asked, will the president sign this? His answer was, the answer is yes. The White House said he would sign this yesterday. Here's a prediction. I mean, I predict in the end, this is just bluster. He's just bluffing. He will sign this, because if he doesn't sign this, the government shuts down. The House and Senate are done. The House and Senate are done. They've gone home at this point. They have other things to do. If the president doesn't sign this, the government shuts down at midnight.
The government shuts down at midnight. And when you say gone home, it's spring break.
Right. I mean, I mean it.
They've gone home, and they're going to be home for a week for Easter break. So, yes, it could be bluster. It could be him, just trying to change the conversation, which he's doing as we speak.
Yes.
But I do think it bears repeating that this is a classic Trump move. I can't imagine that his aides knew that he was going to send this tweet, or at least the people who helped negotiate, like you said, the budget director, who promised that this was going to, be a done deal, that the president would sign this spending bill. But again, at the end of the day, if the president wanted to help these DACA recipients, he would have called back members of Congress, the key members who are negotiating how to deal with these dreamers, and figured it out and said to his base in particular, you know what? You're not going to get what you want. And to Democrats, you're not going to get what you want. That's the art of the deal.